right, welcome back. Salute. Okay. Today's video is about the installation of my dual transverse muffler. I ordered the muffler system. It came as a kit from CJ Pony. The manufacturer of the muffler system is Precision Exhaust. They're out of Connecticut. I did have to reach out to the company, and I'll explain why in a minute, but I have to say a huge thank you to the owner, Dave. If you have any of their systems, you could reach out via email. It's available on their website. I believe it's precisionexhaust.com. Wealth of knowledge. Also has a restoration shop. They do mechanical work. I needed some information on this muffler system. And the reason is, I believed my 1967 GTA 289 4-barrel to be a dual exhaust vehicle. Well, this is an early production 67 in January. I believe the exact date was January 30th. It had a single exhaust system. Now, there are two hangers going towards the rear of the vehicle. They're Resonator hangers, and they had no holes drilled for that, so we have to assume it did not come with a factory dual exhaust. To the contrary, the rear muffler on a single exhaust transverse muffler, the factory bracket hangers and all were on the rear frame rails on the inside, just behind the differential. And so therefore, I think it's safe to assume this came from the factory with the single exhaust. Now, talking to Dave, it could be they might have just not had the dual exhaust system. They wouldn't have hold up production. We don't know. So anyway, the video, again, it's what I'm doing to my 67 GTA Mustang. Not meant to be instructional. I'm going to include some photographs of diagrams that are in the repair manual that I'm referencing here. I'm not quite sure if this is, it says Ford Motor Company. I'm not sure if this is an original manual. I got it when I purchased the vehicle, came with it. I believe the owner, Ray, before me, acquired it. Great resource. Remember, always consult the manufacturer repair manual if you have one. Now, I'll show you the exhaust system that was in here. It's referenced in this catalog. It's a single exhaust. And I'll show you what I put in. Being the dual exhaust. Now, another interesting fact is the rear valance has the dual cutouts. So, a quick story about that. My brother-in-law, Phil, had an ongoing debate with the owner, Ray. He claimed he bought the car that way. So, I misspoke the other day on my introduction video that Ray did not change the exhaust. It came that way. And I know it's not a factory exhaust. They put back what the factory had as far as a single, but there were two sections where the muffler was welded, and as I said, I was a professional. These were not professional welds by any means. Okay, so it was replaced. Now I'm gathering more of the story, the history behind the car, and apparently, I'm going to say maybe right before Ray purchased it in 1977, the exhaust might have been changed. Now, if you recall, I said I was going to be honest with you all. I don't get compensated for this. I'm not trying to monetize this YouTube channel. This is about my journey, what I'm doing. So it's not here to tell you this is what you should be doing. I did, as I was installing this exhaust system, once I looked at the part numbers on the H-pipe, that's when I determined the muffler system was manufactured by Precision Exhaust. I tried searching YouTube to see if anyone else had put this system in their car. They've sold thousands of systems for Fords. Again, they specialize in Fords. And in speaking to Dave, so I was surprised there weren't any videos. Now again, Dave was kind enough to send me what I was missing in my installation, which had me a little bit stumped. And in talking to my brother-in-law Phil and Dave, again, this was not from the factory of Duel exhaust. So where it kicks up on the rear floor, if you were on the inside, your rear seat back and then the bottom, I took out the rear seat. Now I need to drill. It's a dual bolt. I don't have it yet. Bracket or bolt and nut assembly that would have been mounted there. So what I did not have was the approximate location. Now look, like anybody else installing an exhaust system, you can make it fit. I'm trying to make it as correct as possible. I want to make sure everything aesthetically looks really proper. So Dave actually was installing this same exhaust system on a vehicle in his shop. He went out into the shop. He took some measurements for me. I'll include some photos of what Dave sent me. Again, very helpful in me figuring out where those brackets need to go. Again, I just didn't want to arbitrarily put them anywhere. When I consulted the manual, it showed the bracket, but it didn't give you any dimensions. So again, very helpful. And again, I just can't thank Dave enough. And now, the quality of the products. And I did put together some video. You'll have to forgive me. These are one-take videos. I don't have anyone filming. And so whatever comes out, I'll edit it down a little bit, but they're one take. I do have some footage of just using penetrating oil to loosen up anything that might have had a lot of corrosion, rust on it. I did not want to use a torch. There's a lot of leaks, and there could be some fluids that might have been flammable. So I just used a hacksaw to cut the old stuff off. I was able to unbolt the exhaust manifold to H-pipe. That came right out. So again, I'll include some video of just quickly the penetrating oil, what it looked like, and then as I'm starting to assemble it. And anyway, there you go. Take a look at that. We'll come back in the end of the video, and we'll talk a little bit more about my final thoughts on the product and the customer service. Stick around to the end. You're not going to want to miss it. All right. I'm underneath my 1967 Mustang, and I'm going to change this single exhaust system back to a dual exhaust. I have my dog Gino under here right now. He's trying to bite my nose. All right, stop. Anyway, as you can see, the bolts coming out of the exhaust manifold have a lot of rust, so I'm trying to soak them with some penetrating oil, and if that doesn't work, I might have to apply a little bit of heat. But you can see there's a lot of leaks, so I'm going to have to make sure that I'm very careful in doing so. On the clamps, I've also applied some penetrating oil, and it's not quite in focus, but there's a lot of rust on the exhaust system. I'll show you the muffler in just a minute. So there's a look at the muffler. You can see it's rusted, and I've also sprayed some of those hanger bolts. So this is going to be a little bit of a challenge, especially working on the ground. But all right, let's take a look at some of the new components. Now, as we go forward, the Resonator, there's a welded on bracket there's a bracket that mounts up to the floor in this area here. That hole right there is actually the hole that you have on the right and left side of your rear seat upper, that it secures from the inside out. The rear seat is out so you can see the hole. However, I need to now install the hanger brackets right here. Yeah, I'll get you a better shot of those. Okay, they'll mount up like that and secure over to the bracket on the Resonator. So I had to order the bolt assembly and nuts. They should be here in the next few days. I did get some rough measurements. Precision Exhaust, they're out of Connecticut, very helpful. And I'll work on getting all this set up. So I'm basically dry fitting the exhaust and removing brackets that aren't needed. So once again, we thought this was a factory dual exhaust car. I think it should have been, but this was early production, January of 1967. So who knows what happened? Maybe they ran out of dual exhaust and didn't want to hold it up. Not quite sure. But anyway, now I'm just kind of prepping the installation of the new exhaust system. Everything bolted right up. They appear to be well made. All of the welds, they look perfect. And I've run the system. I don't have my hangers in yet. I'm waiting on the pair of hardware before I drill. I want to make sure everything lines up. But I have my measurements. I've already cleaned the section of floor, and I'll start to get under there with a marker and make my 8 inches in. It's about 1 inch down to the top of the bracket. I'll mark it all and get it set, and when the hardware comes, I'll confirm everything as it should be. I'll drill some pilot holes from the outside. Then from the inside, I'll drill the proper size hole. I'll then cover it with some rust-inhibiting paint. Again, I don't want any rust. Anywhere you drill and you have bare metal, you're going to create what's called a corrosive hotspot. Now, what does that mean? All of the energy, the corrosive energy in metal, will go to where it's bare metal. If you've ever noticed a piece of metal that's completely bare, it might get surface rust, but it's not going to rot through. All of that energy is spread out over that piece of metal. So when I drill anything in my sheet metal, floor, whatever, I need to make sure I put a rust inhibitor paint on it, which means it probably has zinc. Zinc is self-sacrificing, therefore it'll start to absorb any of that energy, if you will. So I'll then do that. I'll make sure I have some caulking, and I'll put all that together. I don't want any leaks. Now, I don't anticipate taking this vehicle out in any inclement weather, rain, things of that nature. I could get caught in the rain one day. So again, thanks to Dave for providing those measurements. I wanted to show you from the inside what the hangers look like, the bolt assembly. Okay, I drilled the holes, as you can see on the other side, and I painted with the rust inhibitor paint, and I put a little bit of caulking in there. So now as I tighten up those bolts, that should make a nice seal. Now there's a different angle looking at the right side. Again, I just wanted to show that I did put the rust inhibiting paint on the inside and the outside. The other side's bolted up. Just need to do this side. Here's another little tip. Sometimes these coarse threaded bolts it threaded into the hanger and now into this piece. They'll want to tighten on one side, not the other, so you can use a vice grip, loosen it back up, clamp it tight, and that might help get you a nice snug fit. All right, here we go. Now that I removed and reinstalled using a C-clamp, vice grip, you can see it's a much better fit. All right, little tip. The new exhaust system, the dual exhaust, comes with right and left rear brackets that hang the rear portion of the muffler and the tip of the tailpipe. So it consists of 2 bolts and nuts on each side, kind of an L bracket, and then you have this rubber mounting piece. It slips in, secures here with a coarse threaded bolt, and from there there's a metal bracket that clamps onto the dual exhaust, the tip itself, and slips in. So that's what suspends the muffler in the rear. So the factory exhaust on this 1967 Mustang GTA 289 4-barrel is a single exhaust system. So on the right and left, the brackets that mounted to the transverse muffler on the single exhaust, they both need to be removed. The quality of the product, I think, is perfect. Again, I'll give it 2 thumbs up. All right, what'd you think of the sound? I hope you liked it. I think it sounds nice. My final thoughts on the Service A from CJ Pony. I've also gotten parts from National Parts Depot. So far, my experiences with both of those vendors have been excellent. Precision Exhaust. I'm a big fan of their products. I think Dave has done a fantastic job speccing out the exhaust system to be true to what the manufacturer put on these vehicles. You should all check out the website. Again, it was precisionexhaust.com. Dave's very helpful. Shoot him an email if you have questions. I'm sure as he gets time, he'll respond to your email. Please be patient. He is running a business. He's just a car guy like the rest of us, and he wants to help out, and he was willing to do so. He gave me quite a bit of his time. For that, I do thank him, and thanks for watching the video. Again, I hope you guys are subscribing, and please give us a thumbs up. All right, next video is going to be on the brake calipers and the master cylinder. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.